So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. So in this video, we're going to be talking about a multitude of things. Um, it's rainy here. Just a relaxing day. I'm just chilling, cooking my dinner for me and my friend, and just chilling. That's all I'm doing. But anyway, let's have a chat. I want to talk about Funky Dineva, and I know this story is maybe a little over a week old, but I still want to talk about it because I think that it needs to be addressed in some ways. Funky Dineva identifies himself as a gay man, but he's in actuality a homosexual man. Just because you put on a wig and lipstick does not mean that you represent let's just say, the more positive side of the gay energy, okay? Or the androgynous energy. So let's have a chat. As we all know, there have been allegations surfacing about Puff Daddy. And you all have to excuse me. I have a cold, a cold compress up against my cheek because I'm having tooth issues, child. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, child. But I got insurance, so I can take care of it. I probably got to pay a big copay, but I got insurance to take care of it. So recently, we've all heard the allegations that have been coming out about Puff Daddy and the Cassie situation, etc., etc. I'm not really here to debate that on who's right or who's wrong or anything like that. I'm not here to debate that. The actress Paula Jai Parker, and I really love Paula Jai Parker, she sent out a tweet, or maybe on her Instagram, I don't know. She said something to the effect that she wants to have sympathy or compassion, but she questions a lot of the women who make these allegations. I'm not questioning it. Let me be clear. I am not questioning the Cassie woman. I don't know enough about the situation, and I'm not really invested in it. So I'm not questioning the validity of the story. I'm not questioning that. Or whether or not she's telling the truth. But Paula J. Parker, she said that basically, if you are a slave to someone, do you usually get to pick a 5-star room or something of that nature? Again, I'm only quoting what she said. I am not agreeing with her or saying that what she said is accurate. I'm not getting into none of that. That's just not what I'm here to do. I'm just reporting. So then Mr. Funky Dineva on Fox Soul, he responds to what she said. And he viciously attacked her. He talked about her husband. He attacked her looks. And he mocked the fact that she too may have been through sexual abuse or sexual assault in Hollywood. Now, let me be clear. I understand people taking an issue with her saying what she said. I get it. Even though she spoke some truth in that. Even though she spoke some truth in that. She was speaking her truth. Because if I'm not mistaken, Cassie got $100 million. She got $100 million settlement from what I understand. And I'm not saying she should not have gotten that. Definitely not. I'm not saying that at all. But the way that he responded to Paula Jai Parker, the way that Funky Dineva responded to her was absolutely abominable. And it's always a problem when a black woman speaks her piece, no matter what it may be. Paula Jai Parker has been in that industry for a long time. So she knows what's going on. She knows the ins and outs. And that is one of the reasons why they've tried to silence her for many, many years. That is why. That is why they blackballed her. And he even made fun of that. So here is my question to Claudia Jordan. Al Reynolds, he did the right thing. He didn't even comment on it. But Claudia Jordan said, come on, Funky, you know Paula is my friend. And he said, well, she's not going to be your friend now after seeing this. And then she said, well, I'm going to have to call her because, like, really, sis, how could you say? Here's my whole thing. This is my thing with Claudia Jordan. How do you sit up there and let that man, you say that she's your friend. How do you sit up there and let that man tear her down the way that he did simply because she had an opinion about a very serious issue? Because the fact of the matter is that sometimes, because what she was alluding to, and I'm going to say it, what she was alluding to is that sometimes the women that are telling these stories about SA in Hollywood are not telling the whole truth. And that some of them were escorts and then after they escorted with these men or did whatever they did with them, then they wanted to come out and say it was SA. That is what she was saying. That's what she was alluding to. That maybe Cassie was not telling the truth. I'm not saying that I agree with that. What I agree with is Paula telling her truth. Because I don't believe in not believing a woman when she says that she's been sexually assaulted until she gives you a reason to believe otherwise. He paid that $100 million for a reason. So I understand people being kind of upset with Paula saying those things. I get that. But the way that he tore her down was absolutely disgusting. Here's my thing, though. He said that Paula was allegedly a victim of sexual assault in Hollywood as well, and he mocked it. So why is it okay for him to mock her being sexually assaulted, but it's not okay for her to have questions? It's the same thing with Harvey Weinstein. A lot of the people were saying that some of those women that they allegedly went with him willingly or did whatever they did with him willingly. I'm not saying that, of course, but this is what some of the people were saying. Now, again, I'm not saying this. These are not my views. But why is it wrong for a black woman to have a view on something if that's how she feels? Whether it's wrong, good, bad, or indifferent. But why? But then he came in and attacked her looks. He attacked her husband. He mocked her pain. But he was upset that she had questions about the whole Cassie and Puff Daddy thing. Why did they cancel the women of Fox Soul, Vivica Fox, Lisa Ray McCoy, Selena, and Claudia Jordan? Why did they cancel that and give Al Reynolds and Funky Dineva and Claudia Jordan a show? But you canceled the women But you want two homosexual men and just one woman. That's an imbalance. That's an imbalance. I enjoyed the Queen's cocktails. I believe that's what it was. I enjoyed that on Fox Soul. Especially when they was cutting up, like when Lisa Ray got mad at the brat, her sister. I liked that show. I thought it was very, very entertaining. And I looked forward to a lot of the topics that they addressed. But they canceled that for Funky Dineva? Really? I have nothing personal against Funky Dineva because I don't know him. But the way that he has historically attacked black women, and he is able to maintain a show like that. He attacked one of the Bailey sisters not that long ago, and he got a lot of flack for that. And he's still on the air. We're not saying cancel him, but we wanted to cancel Kim Burrell because she made a very valid point, and I'm no Kim Burrell fan, by the way. I'm no Kim Burrell fan. But she made a very valid point that sometimes we should do background checks on people before we let them in our lives as our friends. And that means getting their credit score checked, seeing where they come from, how they live, where they work, and what type of money they got. And people were all up in arms about that. And they wanted to cancel Kim Burrell. But Funky Dineva is still on the air. The way that he drags and just vilifies and degrades black women in particular. He degrades and tries to humiliate black women. He degraded and humiliated Paula Jai Parker. And if her husband was any type of husband, Forrest, he would check that motherfucking nigga. Because Paula Jai Parker should be able to say whatever the fuck she wants like everyone else. And I'm not taking up for Paula Jai Parker per se, but I'm taking up for the right for a black woman to say, hey, listen, I got questions about stuff. I'm not saying that she was right in her assertion, but she had questions. And I think she has a right to have questions. She has a right to her thoughts. And now we live in a culture where when you have thoughts and questions, especially as a black woman, you get shamed for it. You get attacked. What type of spell work is that? And they both are Leos. I'm surprised Paula Jai Parker didn't light his up. She should have lit him up. But see, they have allowed this culture of people to say whatever they want to say, but you can't say anything back, because if you say something back, oh, you're bashing, or you're a homophobe. That's the narrative that will be spun. But it's okay to bash a woman for being a woman. Then he tried to attack her age. When he is around my age and looks like a 50-year-old man. So what's really going on? What's really going on? Paula Jai Parker can say that. She can question what's going on with Cassie and P. Diddy. She has a right to do that. As a woman, she has a right to question that. Now, I'm not saying that she was right in her assertions, but she has a right to question it if she wants to, without being shamed by a man who does not like black women. Funky Dineva does not like black women. Claudia Jordan, girl, you in trouble. He does not like you because you have something that he will never have. Does he even have a man or a significant other? He surely doesn't seem like it. That's just like that time he took a swipe at the former mayor of my city, Marion Barry. I haven't liked him since. And speaking on which, you know that damn Cora Masters Berry, she done got her ass banned from all of the bus boys and poets here in the DC area because she viciously and unjustly attacked the owner, Mr. Shalal, of the bus boys and poets. She wanted him to sponsor an event for her fully. He told her he could do a partial sponsoring of it. And she went postal on him in the text messages. Started calling him and accusing him of being a racist. He told her unless she apologizes, she's banned from all of his establishments. Mr. Shalal, you don't need an apology. Ban that bitch. Ban her. Ban her. You know why I say ban her? Because she is also part of that Funky Dineva energy as well. When you don't get your way, you want to attack people and make accusations against people and personally attack people with biased claims and lies and filthy rumors. Keep her banned. You don't need no apology. Keep her banned. I just wanted to say that on the side note. This is a man, going back to Funky Dineva, this is a man that is actively engaged in verbal aggressive, abuse, or psychologically abusive behavior towards multiple women in social media. And Fox Soul, you all keep this person on your network. That's okay. You know why it's okay? Because it's a black woman he's doing that to. Let it have been Billie Eilish that he said that about. They would have canceled him. They would have canceled him. We really don't know what took place between Puff Daddy and the Cassie person. Only God knows what really happened between them. But what we do know is this: when there's smoke, there's fire. And he paid that amount of money for a reason. He paid that amount of money for a reason. And this type of stuff has been going on for a long, long, long time. For too long. That is one of the reasons why Rose McGowan from Charmed, that is why she wants nothing to do with the industry or America anymore. I think Rose McGowan, she moved to Mexico. I don't know if she still lives there, but I think she moved to Mexico. And I think it was largely due to the fact that her life was being threatened. Because she spoke out. And I feel the same way about Paula Jai Parker. They blackballed her because she knows a lot about what's going on in that industry. Just like we all know, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, we all know that that's one of the reasons why they kill off a lot of people in that industry. If you know too much, if you notice, if the people that knew too much, like Joan Rivers knew a lot of shit that was going on in the industry and politics, from politics to the acting world, to the music world. Joan Rivers knew a lot of shit. She knew a lot of stuff. And people didn't like that about her. That's why they took her out, allegedly. That's why they took her out. But my question is, why isn't Funky Dineva canceled? Why is he still able to get on Fox Soul and degrade black women? And how is it that Claudia Jordan, I saw the facial expression, Claudia. I saw your facial expression. You did not like what he was saying about Paula because she's a friend of yours. But on the flip side, you didn't like what she said in that tweet either, and that's okay. That's your right. Nobody has a right to tell you how to feel. But why does this dictating homosexual man who is a troubled person, Kaya told us about him a long time ago, and the stuff that he gets down in. Why does this man get to sit up on Fox Soul, make money to degrade and talk negatively about black women? I don't care if he didn't like what Paula said. He could have addressed the topic at hand. Her physical looks, her age have nothing to do with any of this. Her husband has nothing to do with any of this. No matter what her and her husband go through on a personal level, he made a statement, or an allegation rather, that her husband was on crack. Well, Kaya said the same thing about you. She said you snorted cocaine, allegedly. And that's not really no allegedly. Kaya said that. So why is it okay, Fox Soul, why is it okay for this man to continuously sit up there and attack black women, no matter what the provocation was? She didn't attack him. She had questions. And she was giving a side eye to the Cassie and the Puff Daddy situation. She can do that. I don't necessarily agree with her. I do believe that Puff Daddy assaulted that woman. I believe it. I believe it. But that doesn't mean that somebody else can't have a different point of view. And what I find interesting about Puff Daddy is this is the same man. And you know what's, and let me say this first. Somebody sent me something. He has a tattoo on his back of a Haitian deity named Izili Dantor, I believe. And that's supposed to be the deity, the Haitian deity of divine love or something like that. He has this tattoo on his back. And someone said in the caption of this comment that people in Haiti who are part of that, I guess, voodoo religion, they know what's up with Puff Daddy. And they left skulls, emojis in their comment. Now, I don't know what that means. That's above my pay grade. That's for some of the Haitians to answer that. I don't know too much about too many Haitian deities. I do know about Dembala, but not too many more other than that. But just because he has a tattoo of that deity on his back, it doesn't make that deity bad. It's just that he is a bad, fucked up individual. And this is the same man that, was it last year? It was last year. He dressed up as the Joker from Dark Knight, from one of the Dark Knight movies. He dressed up as the Joker. And he was roaming around the streets like a maniac, picking fights with people. And he ran up on one dude. It could have been staged. I don't know. But he ran up on one dude. And the dude was really about that business. And Puff Daddy, because he had all his security around him, he had a lot of mouth. Then he revealed to himself, it's me, Puff Daddy or whatever. And he told the dude, I'm out here to shed love. I'm out here to shed love. I'm love. I'm love. Change your vibration. This is the type of sick people in this world. These are the type of sick people in this world. This is the same dude that was trying to tell somebody else they needed to change their vibration. This is the same dude who said that he is love. I knew right then and there, of course I've always known, but I knew right then and there that Puff Daddy wasn't shit. You're telling somebody else to change their vibration, but now you're being brought up on charges of sexual assault of multiple women, and not just women, men too. Look at what he did to Christopher Williams. And I'm hearing Usher as well, allegedly. But you're telling somebody else that they need to change their vibration? Motherfucker, you don't even have a vibration. This is the same man that a few years back was calling himself Brother Love. You mean to tell me you want us to believe that your display of low vibrating behavioral patterns, that dark, toxic behavior, you want us to believe, Puff Daddy wants us to believe that that is love. He told that man that he walked up on when he was dressed up as the Joker from Dark Knight, he told that man, come to one of my parties and change your vibration. Why? So you could have assaulted him as well? Because everybody has been making these allegations against him. This is the same man that says he's love. Interesting. Somebody sent me something else too. No, I ran across this. Some dude, black dude, of course, it's always it's always a black dude. It seems like some black dude was doing an interview. I don't know his name. Don't want to know his name. And he said that if his girlfriend gained any weight, he would dump her. If his girlfriend or wife gained any weight, he wouldn't touch him. He would dump him. Right? And I found that interesting because, number one, he was not a small man. He was fat and pudgy. He looked short. And there's nothing wrong with a little fat, pudgy man. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that a lot of these men like him, they have Hollywood taste, but they're on a pork and bean vibration. You get what I'm saying? You have all of these extravagant tastes of a Hollywood elitist, but you don't have what it takes to give that person what they need. What makes you think that women don't have taste as well? Because I know I do. I don't like no short men. I like tall men because I'm kind of tall. I'm 5'10". So I need somebody 6'3", 6'4", somebody that can handle me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a whole lot of man, and it takes a real man to be able to handle all this I got. I'm a whole lot of man, child. You hear me? I'm a whole lot of man. And I don't mean physically per se. I mean mentally, spiritually. It takes a man to be able to really deal with me and my energy type. He's talking about weight. So what if a woman has a baby and gains weight? Because that oftentimes happens with women. They'll gain weight when they have children. So my thing is, if you're worried about a woman gaining weight, why don't you just go and be with the man? Because in actuality, that is what you're trying to say anyway. That you really want to be with the man. See, we got to read between the lines. You know, on a side note, speaking of reading between the lines, I know I'm all over the place, but that's what I do. I'm the occult view. I was watching some clips of Hellraiser, the first one that came out in 1987, which is one of my favorite movies. And I went back to Hellraiser Hellseeker, the one where Kirsty came back. And towards the end of the movie, Pinhead was tormenting her, telling her that at the gates of her hell, all of her family members would be waiting for her. Her uncle who lusted after her, her wicked stepmother, Julia. And he said, least of all, Daddy, who wants to hold his little girls in his arms again. And the way Pinhead said that, it made me go, bitch, you mean all of this motherfucking time we didn't pick up on the symbolism in Hellraiser? Kirsty's father. Now, they didn't show it in the movie, but the subtext was there. And I'm just realizing it 30-some years later. Kirsty's father was sexually abusing her. Aren't we talking about sexual assault? Kirsty's father was sexually abusing her. Julia probably knew about it or suspected it, and that is why she had an ambivalence towards Kirsty. It's all in the subtext. It was already in the family because the brother Frank, he was lusting after Kirsty, and there was an estrangement between Kirsty and her father. She loved her father, but you can always see that there was a disconnect there. And the way Pinhead said in Hellraiser Hellseeker, that came out in 2002, the way he said, Daddy, looking to hold his little girls and his little girl in his arms again. I said, oh my God, that is what it was all about. That was the demon that was haunting Kirsty. That is why when Frank and Julia killed Larry, Kirsty's father, that is why they put his skin on. They knew what Larry was doing to Kirsty. Well, Frank probably knew. That's why he kept telling her to come to Daddy. Come to Daddy. Come to Daddy. That was one of the most famous lines in that movie. That was all about abuse and sexual assault and abuse of women and abuse of children, like I told you before. So it makes sense now why Kirsty ended up being a Cenobite. It made sense now why she ended up marrying Trevor, a dysfunctional man, and why she never really wanted to talk about her father and Frank and none of that happened. It's all in the subtext. So going back to this idiot who said that he wouldn't like it if his girlfriend or wife gained weight and he would dump them. The subtext of that is that he wants a man. Because of course men don't gain weight, right? We don't gain weight, right? And I'm being sarcastic when I say that. You all know that. And I'm not bashing men or black men, of course not. It's not about that. And everybody has a right to their preference to what they like. Everybody has a right to their preference to what they want to like or what they prefer. You don't have to like anything you don't want. But to say that you would dump someone that you've been in a long-term relationship with because they picked up a little bit of weight, where in the bejesus did black men learn all these weirdo behavioral patterns? This does not sound like black men. It sounds like a bunch of white men in black skin. Because this is the type of shit that white men would say. And we all know that white men, they will leave white women in a minute and go to another man. We all know that from the get-go. They have no problem leaving white women and going to a lean, muscular, hairy man. They don't have a problem with that at all. White men have a problem with intimacy. They have a problem with love. They have a problem connecting with spirit. They don't know anything about that. Most of them. And I don't give a fuck who that offends. But it seems like black men, you're turning that corner too. So that man who said that he does not want his girlfriend to gain weight, then you should go. You want a man. You want a hard body, big smelly man. And I would suggest that you go and get one and leave women alone to the men who are heterosexual who want them. Stop playing these games with women. So I recently watched the Exorcist Believer, that new Exorcist movie that came out. And before I continue, if you have not seen it, I'm going to spoil it. So if you don't want it to be spoiled, don't listen to any more of the video. So basically, it's about two little girls, one black, one white. They disappear one day for 3 days and they come back and they're possessed. And the mother from the original Exorcist, Chris McNeil, Reagan's mother, she's in this. She's become like an expert on exorcisms. And what's interesting is we kept thinking, and this is where subtext comes into play again. Because art imitates life and life imitates art. They had us thinking that it was Pazuzu, the demon, who possessed Reagan in the first movie. That's what they tried to tell us. But in this movie, the demon that they alleged possessed those two girls is a demon called Lamashtu, and that's a female demon that kills babies inside of women. Pazuzu protects babies and women who are pregnant. Trust me, I know. In the original Exorcist, even though they don't say it or allude to it, they had to call on Pazuzu to save Reagan. That is who they had to call on. The common denominator in all of these movies that I have found, subtext, once again, the subtext, the subliminal, is that whenever someone ends up possessed, you can find the Christian religion or the church not that far behind. They showed you in The Exorcist, the first one, that it was the demon that was trying to help Reagan. But they flipped it and said it was the demon possessing her. It wasn't Pazuzu possessing her. And in this movie, someone pointed it out that those girls were not really possessed by a demon. They were possessed by entities that were monsters. It wasn't necessarily a demon. Not saying that demons don't possess people. That's not what I'm saying. But they want people to be in such fear of demons because they know people are not going to investigate it because they are afraid of them. See, I investigate. I'm an occultist. I read up on stuff like this. And Pazuzu actually protects people from other demons because lower level demons or other demons, they are afraid of Pazuzu. So in the original Exorcist, and his name is not even Pazuzu. I'm not going to tell the real name of what that demon really is, but that ain't really his name, by the way. But in the original Exorcist, when they were towards the end of the exorcism, Pazuzu was standing over Reagan's bed. And that was showing you the subtext there, the subliminal, that it was Pazuzu who was driving out that demon. Because when you read up on Pazuzu, that's what he does. He scares off other demons. And he is an enemy of Lamishtu, the demon who likes to kill women and their unborn children. When those two girls were possessed, the mother from the original Exorcist said that Reagan, her daughter, had disowned her. And she hadn't heard from Reagan in many, many years. She didn't know if Reagan was still alive or not. And when she went to confront the demon that was possessing that girl in this movie, the demon told her Reagan is dead, basically, and she's burning in hell. But then we see at the end of the movie, when Chris is in the hospital, that Reagan comes into the hospital room and visits her mother, and they reconcile. I thought that was so beautiful. And the subtext in all of that is this: you cannot listen to the lies that people tell you, that entities tell you, not entities from another world, but entities like YouTube, Instagram. A lot of these people who are on these apps, they are entities representing these apps. And they are here to put out misinformation. I was listening to somebody earlier today that I'm sub to, somebody that I really like her videos. And she was talking about how people put out misinformation about paganism, misinformation about witchcraft, and trying to vilify it and demonize it. And these are the same people who claim that they're fucking conscious. These are the same people who claim that they're promoting love. These are the same people who claim that they're so enlightened, but they're only on a straight path of fear and hell. See, you got to read between the subtext of everything. And going back to Paula Jai Parker, that is what she was doing. She was reading between the subtext of what's going on between Puff Daddy and Cassie. She was reading the subtext. She wasn't condemning Cassie, but she was reading between the subtext. But then you have an entity like a Funky Dineva that will come through and try to shut you down because you may be on to something, or you may be speaking truth on something. And entities that are of that nature, of an evil nature, they don't want you to speak truth. They want you to speak lies. And that's what that monster or that entity possessing that girl in The Exorcist, in this recent one, that is what that entity wanted Chris to believe, that her daughter was dead. And that was a lie. Just like Funky Dineva wants us to believe that Paula Jai Parker ain't shit and she's crazy and she's a liar. That's not true. That's simply not true. We live in a world of subtext and subliminal stuff, and you got to be able to read between the subtext and see what's really being said. In The Exorcist, they were telling us, even though they tried to flip it and tried to use trickery, but I can see it wasn't a demon that possessed those girls. It was some type of how can I put it? Some type of non-human entity that possessed those girls. Everything is not a demon possessing someone. Not saying that that can't happen. It was the same thing with Reagan. That wasn't Pazuzu that possessed her. We have to remember, again, the subtext. We have to remember what Christianity really is and what it really represents. There are a lot of evil entities connected to that religion. I don't care how people get mad. There are a lot of evil entities connected to that religion, and it's not demonic. Because even the demons, even though they try to put Jesus in conflict with the demons were the ones who were trying to help him when he was on the cross. But they don't tell you that. But there are entities that are monsters that can possess people sometimes. And that is what happened to Reagan and those two girls. The subtext. It wasn't Pazuzu that possessed her, even though that was the storyline. But I read between the subtext. Because see, Pazuzu brings information and wisdom and understanding on certain things. And if I really told you all what and who Pazuzu was, you would shit bricks. Not in fear, but in shock. When that Catholic priest was up there praying for Reagan in the original Exorcist, calling on Jesus' name, Pazuzu showed up. And then after Pazuzu showed up, Reagan was no longer possessed. Read between the subtext. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. This is your host, The Occult View, and until we meet again, thank you.